The Transcontinental, which is a race across Europe, has its youngest ever winner. Johnny, who are we talking about?
We're talking about Victor Bossoni, who won the Transcontinental Race in 10 days, 16 hours, and 38 minutes. The youngest ever winner. I wish I had his age here. I think from memory he's like 22, 23. This year's race was a bit of a departure from... I mean, they change the course every year, but at least... And usually they come like down from Belgium, I think. But this year they started in the northwest of Spain. They actually made the riders... Because there's bits of parkour where you have to go on that bit to complete the course. And the race heads west to east. But they actually, for the start, made the riders go west out to the coast, and then they were set free. So like a bit of like a head fuck to begin with. But then it was through across the top of Spain, like along the pilgrimage where everyone walks. I can't remember the name.
The Camino del Santiago.
Yes, thank you. So it's kind of like that country. Then they went over a bunch of Pyrenean climbs, like the Obisque, the Tourmalet, something else. Then across the like lower Alp, like underneath Ventoux or over like above Ventoux, bit of Alps action down through Italy, and then the race kind of for the ones like in the front centered on whether you're going to make the ferry from Bari across to Albania, I believe. So there was this huge race to get to the ferry in time. At this point, our winner Victor, he was 30 minutes late for the 11 p.m. ferry. But luckily, managed to convince them to let him buy a ticket. So he'd missed check-in, but managed to. And basically, that meant that it was him versus this other guy. Really sorry, I can't remember their name. I've been trying to get on top of this all morning. I think it was a German guy, and then they were like neck and neck, kind of across Albania, all the way to the coast, like another 600 kilometers east. And he eventually won it. But the fun thing about Victor is that last year he competed. But he, I think, got made like hundreds of kilometers down the road and then realized he'd left his passport at a cafe.
Oh, no.
And you need that to, like, obviously, get around. And that's one of the things you have to have. So he had to go back. So then he obviously had a much worse sort of final placing. But he still, I think, managed to finish it, or at least, like, retrod the route. So I think he actually went over the Alps 3 times because it was, like, over the other side of the Alps. Crazy dude. This time, he managed to forget his... you have a little booklet where you get your stamps when you go through all the checkpoints, and he got to a checkpoint, was rummaging through his bag, and realised that he'd forgotten that.
Is he the Jasper Philipsen of the Transcontinental? Is that what we're saying?
Maybe. And then what happened? Apparently, like they have some great race reports on the Transcontinental website, which go into huge detail, and I've been spending a morning reading them. And apparently, his like eyes were welling up, where it's like, not again. But luckily, those cards, I think it's called a brevet card, I can't remember. That's not a piece of equipment that you have to have. Like, you can get a replacement one. So luckily they gave him a replacement one, and he carried on his way. But yeah, great race. I'm currently writing something up about that because they have these amazing race reports, but they're just really dense for like the real hardcore fans. So I'm trying to separate out. But yeah, amazing like mini stories in there. There was a guy who, I think he's a British guy who. He's on his bike. He's only like 21. I think he got hit by a car or something, was in a coma for 2 weeks, and then through cycling managed to relearn, put his brain back together kind of through riding a bike, and then found ultra. But then he had to DNF, I think 6 to 9 days in, I can't remember what it was, because he was eating so many sweets that like his tooth like cracked or something like that. Just like nasty. There's a guy who was like the first one to attack, kind of, which is a weird way to phrase it, but like straight out the gate. And then he's like a retired paratrooper who did over 7,000 jumps. So like amazing race for all these nuts people in a good way. But yeah, youngest ever winner. Riders will still be coming in for days, even weeks. Like you can go past the elapsed time, like we have to get to the checkpoint, but then people just carry on and then reach the end like a month later. So
super cool race.
Babbled on a bit, but it's super cool.
No,
love it.
One of our favorite kind of ultras.
Really want to go.
Yeah, all the ultras have sort of like slightly different rule sets, right? They'll kind of bring their own regulations to the game.
Yeah,
and we just really like this one's fun. It's just sort of it seems like it leads to some of the best and most interesting racing and some of the craziest stories for whatever
There
reason.
was, I think this was Victor. I think he nearly got chucked off because he also won the green jersey, which is basically if you get to the start without having only using not going by planes, not traveling by planes, which is kind of cool. And so he traveled with his bike, and I think he was worried that he damaged like a spare mech or something. So what he did was order one online to a like a locker, like those lockers you can order post to that are next to like a bakery or whatever, and then collected that. But luckily, like divulged this information before he'd had to use it, and so could give it in to the race organizers, so he didn't circumvent like the no help because it's all self-supported. And then another guy I think nearly got disqualified because he'd mentioned how he'd had his friends helping from home, but then turns out that they were just like I think chatting. It wasn't like help, no like route planning and stuff like that. So super weird.
Lots of sort of controversy around what defines help and all. Like same thing with like the Colorado Trail, for example.
It's all part of the fun, like that
fun.
whole But yeah, amazing.
Like
Sorry, I waffled on there, but it's great.
No, it's great. It's like the closest thing to the what the Tour de France was when it first started. I think that's one of the things I really love about it.
That's what they're trying to. That's the
Tour
spirit they're trying to bring back in. Yeah. And they they went over the Strade Bianche course this year. They do a lot of like honouring the past of like cycling in Europe stuff. So it's super cool.